Alright, just got done watching the Ultimate Fighter finale a little bit ago. Actually, my computer wouldn't go on. And fucking hair. Alright, so overall I was 6-3 on this card. I aced the undercard and didn't get the main card very well. That's not so good. But anyway, starting from the bottom, working my way up, we had Paul Georgiev and Jonathan Goulet. Jonathan Goulet winning in the first round with a rear naked choke. Second fight, Roman Michnian defeated Dorian Price in the first round with an ankle lock. You don't see that too much, actually. You don't see so many of those, but still, good show. Matt Arroyo tapped John Koloski in the first round with an armbar. A lot of first round submissions on this card. Troy Mandalones, he knocked out Richie Hightower. I guess I really should go into more depth of the fights we saw. Okay, I'll go with Arroyo, Koloski. Koloski, I don't know if he really took the right angle in this fight. I think he should have tried to keep standing a little more and tried to sprawl and brawl. But when they were on the ground, it was very, very obvious that Arroyo was superior. He had a very nice shoulder lock at one point. That was very close, I think. He got slammed out of it, and even though he was on the bottom for most of the time on the ground, he was the guy doing most of the damage. He was going for submissions. He was clearly working for something. Very active guard. Koloski couldn't really do a lot. It was a pretty one-sided affair. Troy Mandalones, Richie Hightower. Richie started off very well. Kind of dictated the stand-up. Had pretty good pace to the fight, but seemed to get a little tired, just a bit. And eventually, Troy started taking advantage. He even had Richie on the ground for a little bit. Didn't do a lot on the ground again, but again, we said Mandalones in the ground game is not his forte. It is the power in his hands, and he eventually showed it. He just unloaded. He's got such heavy hands, and he just tagged Hightower good and knocked him out. Next we had Ben Saunders and Dan Barrero. For a lot of the fight, Dan Barrero took a different strategy to this fight, and it was, I think, maybe a good idea. Was he wrestled Ben Saunders, basically. He put him on his back a lot. Problem was Ben very, very good off his back. He reversed him a couple times. I almost had his back a number of times. A couple good armbar attempts, a couple of rear naked choke attempts. When they were on the feet, he was tagging Barrero very well with high kicks mainly. Basically wore him down and took a unanimous decision, which was a good call. Billy Miles versus George Salaropoulos. Billy took George down, which was not overly surprising. Looked okay on his feet, but kind of like I said, he's a good wrestler, not a good grappler really, and he did not maintain top position very well. George got his back, pretty much choked him. It's kind of like I said. I mean, Salaropoulos is a phenomenal grappler. He's a black belt under Machado, I think. It's just great. It was kind of showed what he really could do. And from here, I started going downhill. We had John Koppenheimer, J-Rock, Jared Rollins fighting each other, and unique strategy from Jared was when he was on his back, he used a lot of elbows and he really cut open John. I think John might have been winning just because he had top position more, but for the first round was kind of back and forth, kind of even. The stand-up all throughout the fight was kind of even. Basically what it comes down to, I think J-Rock got tired in that third round. He just didn't look into it, and he was in John's guard. He got swept, and John had him mounted and just pounded on him. Got the TKO stoppage. Good job by John Koppenheimer. Like I said, when his mental game is straight, he's a good fighter. Jared, kind of another underwhelming performance. Tommy Spear versus Mac Danzig. I should have gone with my gut in this one, because I knew Danzig was the better fighter. He was a much more technically skilled fighter. I think I said so. That in the end, I mean, he was a better fighter, but Tommy was just so much bigger, so much stronger, and he was a good wrestler. I thought he could keep him out of his element, but Danzig got his back and choked him out, and Danzig took him down, which was a little surprising. Mounted him very quickly. I mean, it showed what Tommy has to learn, and that is he still has a lot of skills to pick up. And then finally we got to Clay Guida and Roger El Matador Huerta on the night. This was a pretty good fight. It was kind of back and forth. Huerta winning the stand-up, not dominating the stand-up, but winning it. Guida had a good number of takedowns, kind of like I thought. And the fight was going like I thought up until in the third round. Guida shot for a takedown a little bit, ate a big knee, and it rocked him. And he was kind of done from that point on. It was a mere formality after that. It looked like Guida actually might have even got a little tired, which is something you don't generally see. Or I think it honestly though was more he got stunned by a couple of good shots by Huerta. Huerta got his back and choked him out. So it gives Roger a lot of credibility, but it kind of shows what I've been saying. Roger is he can be beat. It's just going to take someone who can do it. And outside of the obvious names, it's hard to think of a guy who can do it. But we'll see. Where do all these fighters go from here? Well, the losers, with the exception of Clay Guida and Tommy Spear, probably won't be in the UFC for a while. Mac Danzig's going to go down to 155 pounds. As for who he should fight, I don't know. There's no one in particular that jumps out to me that I would like to see him fight. Perhaps Kenny Ford, even a guy like Kenny Ford. I know that might be a little too high up, but maybe a better example would be like Alvin Robinson or George Michel. Maybe that's a little better. As for Tommy Spear, I'd like to see him fight a wrestler with the similar kind of strength that he has and see how he handles that. Name that immediately comes to mind is Josh Koscheck, but that's way too high up the ladder. Perhaps more like a Tony DeSouza maybe, who might be somewhere in the same ballpark, or a I really don't know. I can't think of anyone that really fits the bill. That's kind of sad. Huerta moves kind of into title contention at this point. Some people already had him in title contention, which I thought was kind of BS. He hadn't earned it there yet. He's possibly in title contention. He could use a big win, perhaps a fight against Kenny Florian, with some number one contenders contention things with it. As for Guida, always entertaining to see him fight. I don't really have anyone particularly that jumps out to mind, but perhaps Frankie Edgar. But Edgar might be deserving of a more high opponent. Perhaps a rematch with Tyson Griffin would also be something I'd be interested in seeing. I'll cover the rest of the main card or where they go from here. Koppenheimer, honestly, I don't think he's up to where he needs to be, and he'll be impressed by anyone that is. George Sateropoulos could stick around a while. I'd like to see George fight. No one immediately jumps out, but maybe a Dustin Hazlett would be a decent idea. But yeah, that sounds good to me. And then there's Ben Saunders, and there's Troy Rude Boy Mandalonas. Mandalonas will probably go down to 155 pounds. Like I said, I don't really think he's up to the UFC standards. Ben Saunders could be him at welterweight. Put him up against someone who can maybe counter the reach a little bit more effectively. Someone with some good strikes. Maybe a Paul Taylor might be a decent idea. Might be something to go with. Or a Jess Lee Ouden. That'd be another one. But yeah, I guess that's kind of it for now. Rate, comment, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the finale. And the big announcement is that Forrest Griffin will be one of the coaches in the next season of TUF. They also called him #1 contender. They said he would fight the other coach. This kind of gives away the other coach being Quentin Rampage Jackson. I don't know what what to say about that coaching idea. Sorry. Both are solid fighters, but neither is a proven coach. Would be the one problem I have with it. Not that you need the best coaches in the world. I mean, if you were to do that, you bring in trainers. But I don't know about that idea. But still, it should be an amusing season with those two as coaches. Anyways, rate, comment, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed. Later.